12 races, 6 weeks, no rooms for mistakes. This is the race for the $500,000 seat in the Skip Barber Racing School, and your Skip Barber Formula iRacing series starts right here, right now in Lakeville, Connecticut. Lime Rock Park, the place where all sim racers know like the back of their hands. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone watching around the world. I'm Jake Sperry, Peter Mackay alongside for the ride. Peter, this is such an incredible opportunity. All drivers hot lap to get their opportunity into this place, and this championship could be the most fiercely contested on iRacing.
And what a prize we have on offer, a fully funded seat in the Skip Barber Racing School, a school that has produced drivers like Juan Pablo Montoya, Danica Patrick, Andy Lally, AJ Allmendinger, and so many more. This is a golden opportunity for these racers, and the thing we love about iRacing and sim racing is it's a level playing field, and we're going to see who is the best out of these drivers.
It is a very strong level playing field. The best of the best will survive, and this may just be the most extensive prize giveaway that a real world series has ever put into sim racing. First prize for every race will get $1,000 worth of credit to the Skip Barber Racing School, and the hard charger, the driver who gains the most positions, they will get 1 day's racing school with Skip Barber. But championship prizes for the top 3, it is a full season in place. All drivers get 5 days of competition licensing and Skip Barber Racing School coaching, but a full season in the upcoming Skip Barber Formula Race Series worth $500,000 goes to the winner. Second place will get a half season, and third place will get 1 race in the championship. This is absolutely incredible. I've never heard anything like it, and this might just be the biggest opportunity I think a lot of sim racers have had to really seize the initiative to make that move forward.
It certainly is, Jake. I'm so excited to see how the drivers actually attack this series, because they have to qualify every single week to get that major prize. And it's such a big prize that we're going to see the drivers putting everything on the table. But how do they keep themselves in check and make sure that they rack up enough points to get that prize? That's the bit that's going to be so fascinating to see.
Absolutely, and this track is just as fascinating here, Peter. Lime Rock Park, all iRacers know it. This is one of the first tracks you start out and learn.
That's right, and it's a track that's very dear to the heart of the Skip Barber Racing School as well. It started all the way back in 1957, racing here in Lakeville, Connecticut. A man called Jim Vale used his family's land, quite honestly, to the best possible use to build a racetrack. But he used some real technical innovation at the time to design the circuit. He actually used the labs for aeronautics at the Cornell University to design the layout of this very circuit. It's got wonderful elevation change, quite difficult to overtake, but you can be sure that our young hard chargers today are going to make sure there's spots to overtake.
Absolutely, and so some great work is coming along as everyone looks to try and put themselves to the test here today. This is a great track. This has got great racing, but this is just as great of a schedule. From Lime Rock Park here today, 1 week from today, we'll be at the Virginia International Raceway, VIR. From there, the 4 races in April, which I'm really looking forward to. Watkins Glen, WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, Road America, and Sebring. 4 tracks which are so similar and so different.
Oh, they're just what makes racing in the United States so special. Some big names in there, some proper old school tracks, and some tracks that are going to be perfect for this brand new iRacing IR04 machine. Jake, I've been having a great time driving this car, not at the speed these guys have, but it's like a little baby F3 car. It's such a wonderful machine that the iRacing software engineers have developed.
Absolutely, it's an incredible car, and one which you can grab today on the iRacing service. So this is a really cool series, but this is what they go into today. A fixed setup, 1 lap shootout qualifying, and then 2 races. Race 1, 15 minutes. It sets the grid for race number 2. Race 2, also 15 minutes long, but the big key is it is 35 points for a victory. It's 11 points for 20th place, top 20 in this race here, Peter. But crucially, on top of that, no points if you don't make it through hot lap qualifying.
Very important indeed. And that pressure, this is what really the Skip Barber Racing School is all about. It's about making the most complete racing driver at the end of the day. So qualifying into this Formula iRacing series, getting your seat to the Skip Barber Formula School, and then who knows what takes you on from there. But the preparation for the pressure of high-level motor racing happens right now.
It certainly is. Best 8 of 12 scores count to the championship, and this could be a huge opportunity for drivers to go forward. We are just about to move over towards the start of racing action here today, and I tell you what, these are some amazing drivers, and this is not just a centralized series. We've got drivers from all over the world looking to book their place with amazing seats, amazing opportunities, and that crucial thrill for speed that all sim racers have from the very moment they jump into an opportunity. So let us take a look at the starting grid then, here for racing action. Race 1 of 12. Mikel Garda gets himself on the pole position, number 1 on his car. He was the fastest in the hot laps. He's got Nicholas Matteo for company on the front row, with Elvis Rankin and Harley Horton 3rd and 4th. Salva Talens will start this one from 5th position, with Will Redford qualifying the car in position number 6 out there overall. Incredible times then that came on through. Deegan Fairclough will start from 7th. Matt Busa, who is known from the eNASCAR series, he's there in 8th. Suelio Almeida will go from 9th, and Leo Ovcharov will round out the top 10. Felipe Cabrera Loyola will start 11th, with Mohamed Ibrahim. He's going from 12th position on the grid today. 13th on black will be the likes of Pier Francesco Patricolo out there on circuit, and Jack Harrison will go from position number 14. So there are some amazing drivers here who've got their chance. A lot of work to do from those maybe a little bit further back, the likes of Isaac Clarke, Matthew Zeiss, Sean Ryan. Benjamin Barreto is back there in 18th position, and 2 drivers failed to set a time out there in their qualifying efforts on the one lap. Michael Romanidis and Michael Janney. Not a good day so far, Peter, for drivers named Michael, but they have a chance, as we'll have a full pace lap before our rolling start here today.
Yeah, very important on this quite short pace lap. It is a very short lap here at Lime Rock Park, so you've got to get temperature in those Pirelli tyres, get temperature into the brakes as well. It's quite a heavy braking zone into turn 1 here, as the drivers are prepared behind the iRacing pace car, which pulls away, and the number 1 of Mikel Gade will lead us away. I'm very, very excited now. Absolutely,
and let's take a little look at the track conditions out here today as they negotiate their outlap here on the Sam Posey Straight. 75 degrees Fahrenheit in air temperature. Track temperature, very cool, no, I'd say a little bit warm, 99 degrees Fahrenheit out there on track. Not much wind to talk about. What you'd say is it's clear skies and clear opportunities for racing today.
Yeah, no excuses in terms of weather conditions, which are all accurately simulated here on the iRacing service. And you can see the drivers just wiggling back and forward, just trying to generate that little bit of temperature. All the drivers on exactly the same car and exactly the same fixed setup. So this is a pure test of driving ability. This is what we like to see here in the Skip Barber Racing School.
Absolutely, and just going through, there are 2 chicanes in this layout. Here's the first one, the uphill chicane, which is a very tough 90-degree right-hander, left, right, to rejoin up on the run towards West Bend. And the second chicane, which will be very, very crucial for overtaking here over 15 minutes, which is that dive double apex right into a very tight left, where drivers love to be aggressive over the curbs. They will now move down the hill under the Haggerty Bridge and move to the diving turn, the final corner out here on this 11-turn version of Lime Rock Park, and 15 minutes will be put on the clock. Pace car will dive in, will be under the control of Mikel Garda out there on circuit. He will give himself the jump. Let's get ourselves then the green flags in the air. We're racing at Lime Rock Park. Immediately the battle for second is on, with Matteo, Elvis Rankin trying to work away to the inside as all 20 drivers run through then these very important opening 2 right-handers on what is an incredibly technical circuit.
Yeah, turns 1 and 2, Big Ben, very easy to get snarled up there, but the driver's taking it nice and steady so far as well. Good respect as they head through the right-hander down the no-name straight towards the first chicane. This is the first real heavy braking zone. It's easy to lock up into here, as you can see a few drivers jostling for position there, and it very quickly tightens up. You've got to be so careful getting through, but somehow, Jake, they'll get through clean.
They certainly do, and look at the gap. Salva Taylor's had to really be defensive there on the opening lap. Deegan Fairclough getting a slowdown penalty, really starting to fall back, but the front four clear at the front. It's Garda in control. Matteo is second, Rankin third. Car spun there at the back, not ideal at all in the slightest then as they go through. That was Ovcharov who was off, but side by side for the race lead going through the opening section of road. Garda just about holds on going through. Matteo clinging on to that second position.
And these four drivers, they will not be able to believe their luck right now, getting a four-car breakaway this early on in the race. And I think they'll have their spotters on the radio saying, just take it easy and try not throw too many big moves right now and potentially pull away, because it's very unusual to see such a gap now between this four-car leading group and Salva Taylor's in fifth. So got to play this one smart. These are very tricky cars to race. There's a lot of slipstream effect of them as well. So if you're not playing it smart, you can easily get freight trained by your rivals.
Elvis Rankin then on board with from Fishers, Indiana, as he will make the charge just on the outskirts of Indianapolis. Thinking about the move, has to really move across then to the right-hand side, as there was a little bit of a half look there down the inside from Nicholas Matteo as he tried to figure out the right way forward to try and make that move. Didn't quite happen, but this is what you're seeing. Look at the determination on Elvis's face right now. He is completely geared in and tuned in, and Gartha there very nearly running wide through that right-hander, and that might have opened the chance for Matteo, stuck on the outside, has to check back into line.
Oh, Mikel Gadi shuts the door hard in the face of Nicholas Matteo there going into the first chicane, making it absolutely clear that he's going to have to work very hard to make a move there as well. Elvis Rankin there in third, a wonderful young driver from Indiana. Oh, a big slide there from Matteo, and that slows them all up, and Mikel Gadi gets a huge break now. 0.8 of a second, massive for Mikel.
And we talk about this being a huge break. 3 wide almost now on the front stretch in the battle for second. Rankin in control. You've got Matteo there and Harley Horton, who we've talked nothing about here in fourth position, who's been quietly watching. He doesn't quite find what he needs. They fall into line, and this is where you have to get disciplined in a race like this, because so quickly you have to be available. You have to be alert in this championship and make sure that you are keeping your race intact.
Well, this is happy birthday Christmas Day for Mikel Gadi. That slide is the slightest mistake from Nicholas Matteo in that green-coloured car, the white, red and green car in second place. That little slide held up Rankin and Horton and has allowed Mikel Gadi to break away. And of course, Jake, with a 1.2 second advantage, that breaks the slipstream effect to the cars behind, so he can really make a breakaway now.
Absolutely, it would be down to pure pace at this point in time for second, third and fourth if they want to claw their way back into this race, already on their 5th revolution of the circuit here on this 15-minute race. They know how important it is. Picture in picture we see, as you can see, the battle for 5th position on the bottom of your screen. Deegan Fairclough leading this one from Taylor's, from Redford, and then Suelio Almeida on the back of this one. 4-car scrap there for 5th, and there's that scrap. First, second, third and fourth. Some brilliant pack mentality racing here with these Skip Barbers.
This is fascinating stuff. This is where the drivers are learning all about the racecraft, because it's not just necessarily about being the fastest car on track. To be honest, the cars are so close, the drivers are so close on pace. It's all about the racecraft and being clever. And these drivers in second, third and fourth, Matteo, Rankin and Horton, they've got to be super clever. If they start throwing big moves at each other, not only will they not catch Mikel Gadi, but they'll be thrown right back into the clutches of the chasing pack led by Fairclough at the moment, who's looking very racy indeed.
Yeah, you see that little serpentine in these iRacing Formula IR04 machines. They are really trying to break that toe on the Sam Posey straight as much as they possibly can, moving through the left-hander, moving back then to the right, and you are really starting to see what makes this such a difficult car to work with. You have to be pinpoint, and from the position that they're in, of course, with the halo devices they have on these machines, a little bit of a slide and mistake there comes in from Fairclough, really trying to push forward over the grass even. goes one Mr. Salvatalen's desperate to get up the inside, and he's managed it and shuts the door as well on the exit. But again, this just completely bottlenecks and concertinas everybody up through this diving turn.
Wow, that's just lost probably a second to the pack in front. That is how important an overtake can be and how harmful it can actually be. Oh, they touch slightly. Fairclough getting into the back of Talens. Talens opens the door and they go through right-hander. It's through Big Ben, sorry, in towards left-hander. And oh, that's tough. Fairclough shows Salens the grass. Deary me, well, Salvatalen's is used to hand-to-hand combat. He's one of our Porsche Tag Power Esports Super Cup drivers, one of the very top level of sim racing. And, Jake, that's a rude awakening to Skip Barber Formula racing there.
Absolutely. Fairclough not only gave a bump draft on the front stretch, but also pushes out wide Salvatalen's through turn number 2. Welcome to racing. It is going to be fraught with frivolous dangers like this over the course of a very, very tough season. There is Salvatalen's, who I think has just accepted where he is at the moment. He needs to recoup, regroup, and get himself back into position over the course of this race. And you can see how much time they've lost already. They're already 5 seconds off the lead. There's a little look there from behind. Tries to get through. That's Suelio Almeida trying to work away down the inside, just outside of Valencia in Spain. He lives at this point in time, and he just couldn't quite manage it, and the gap opens up about half a second or so.
Yeah, he was trying everything he possibly could. It is not easy to overtake here at Lime Rock Park. As a little look up the inside for the chicane. No, that's a very low percentage move in there. But back at the front, it's not all done for Mikel Gade. He's now only got a gap of about, well, actually, it's just sort of hovering around 9/10 of a second. So it is coming down slightly. And oh, big wreck at the first chicane.
Yeah, that's a huge one there. Jack Harrison involved in that one there. He's immediately on the radio to apologise about it. So he gets caught up. It was Sean Ryan who was in there as well, who was involved in the accident, and I believe just getting away with it was Michael Romanidis in all of it. So huge dramas, but it is still, though, at the front, these drivers to focus on. The battle for second on your screen right now with the number 10 of Nicholas Mateo, with the number 5 of Elvis Rankin just behind him. The chase being given as they move into that uphill chicane once again, and an important moment in that race, especially for those who are fighting for that hard charger award, Peter.
Yeah, the hard charger, a very good one to bring up as well. The person that makes the most places in the race gets a one-day training school at the Skip Barber Racing School, and that's just a classic Lime Rock Park chicane incident. Just the tiniest wheel tangle there, Jake, and that was enough to cause that kind of domino effect.
Absolutely, and you have to remember as well here, Peter, how high the curbs are through that section of road. They really don't want you here at Lime Rock Park being aggressive against those chicanes. They are prioritising accuracy over overall brute force, and that is why when you get yourself up over those anti-cut curbs, you effectively lose all control of your steering.
Yeah, and these Formula I R04 machines, they run so close to the ground that not only do you hear it, you feel it as well. You get a horrible jolt as you go over those anti-cut curbs as well, but the leaders having no such issue. So after that incident, Michael Romanidis, Benjamin Barreto and Jack Harrison all having to go to pit lane for repair. And the thing is, in this series, if you have a poor race one, it compounds, because if you have a bad finish in race one, that is where you start the race in race two. So it really rewards consistency. But Matteo, he is on the charge, 0.4 of a second quicker than Gade last time by. That's a huge margin in this context.
Just a comparison on that last lap going through, that was the lap before, there was a 0.4 difference. That was a much better lap from Mikel Gade, who is out there on track right now. You can see him stoic in the way he runs through these corners, just pretty much looking through and seeing, yeah, this is exactly what I expect. I'm leading from the front at Lime Rock Park. This isn't going to be a guarantee. This is going to have to be a strong defense between now and the end of this race. And we are coming up inside the final third of this race, but look at this, 2 wide, 2 deep as they run behind. Great fighting for sixth, upside down, rolling. It's Will Redford who goes for a helter-skelter ride going through, and he ends up upside down at the uphill.
Oh, that's a violent wreck there for Will Redford. And goodness, hope he's not in a motion rig, because that would have been a real egg beater, that one. But the race over then for Will Redford, so he'll start near the back in race number 2. But Gade looks to have responded very well there to the charge from Matteo. It's almost as if, Jake, he kind of had it in control. He was watching his time delta, thinking, okay, that's close enough. I better open up the taps again. He was 2/10 quicker than Matteo last time by.
And I wonder how much of that is as much of Nicholas Matteo looking back there in the rear view mirrors. Battle on screen right now is for P6. Mohamed Ibrahim, the Indian driver from Pune, is looking to try and hold off Suelio Almeida for position. Ibrahim in this race is up 6 spots here, Peter, but he is not the hard charger at the moment. That's Michael Janney, who is up 7 at this point, and suddenly it could be only up 5 as Almeida gets a really good run through the diving turn, ducks down to the inside.
Oh, let's see if Almeida can get this move done then as they head down towards Big Bend. One of the best opportunities as they drag race down the Samposi Straight. Side by side then. Oh, up over the curb. We've got to be so careful then, but then it comes back again as we come through Big Bend. Turn 1 and 2, and then turn 3, the left-hander. I know, a very imaginative name, and then we come into an even more imaginative name, the right-hander here at Lime Rock Park. It's simple, it's basic, easy to understand.
And Salva Taylor's taking full opportunity, sneaking up the inside at the right-hander, has the line for the one-line Suitsall uphill section. A mistake just in front from Ibrahim, grabbing the anti-cut curb, opens up this chance, and as they now make the run over to the next right-hander, he's got the inside, and we're side-by-side behind as well, as I believe that would be Matt Buser getting himself involved with Almeida. He's jumped onto the back now.
Salva Taylor's looked like he had 4-wheel drive there coming out of the first chicane there. Got such good traction going up the hill, just hooked up his IR04, and that's a big block. That is a really big block. Nearly ends up in a huge wreck on the Samposi Straight. Salva Taylor's using everything he can to keep Ibrahim at bay, but Jake, you got to say that's right on the edge of what's allowable.
Oh, absolutely. That is using everything you've got to your advantage. And when you are in front, especially in a battle like this, you have to be there. You have to make sure you're scoring points, and scoring points quickly in a series like this. Staying in around 6th position is definitely going to be very, very important out there overall. Battle on, though, still for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Mikel Garda has once again broken away, but Matteo, Rankin and Horton still there, and they know on the clock they've got 3 laps to figure this out.
Well, here they go down towards Big Bend. Have these drivers thought, well, Gada is gone, we can't catch him, it's now to fight for number 1, or in this case for number 2 as they go. Look at that, Elvis Rankin up the inside into the left-hander as well. Looks like he's going to get it as well. Can Matteo shut the door? Oh, they get tangled up. Matteo and Horton can't tangle, and that allows Rankin to break free in the number 5 car with the blue helmet.
Both of them still on the circuit. Harley Horton into the back of Matteo, and now all of a sudden that is a huge wake-up call for this race. It shows you just how pinpoint and precise you need to be, and you can see them going through this section of road, how they take that wide entry, Peter, going into that west bend and now through the diving turn. This is where you really have to rely on the momentum, and you can see, look how huge the weave is as they try and go forward. Matteo is trying desperately to cling onto the back of Elvis Rankin's gearbox.
Now, if you're watching this thinking, what on earth is Elvis Rankin doing there, weaving out across the straight? What he's trying to do there is to stop giving a slipstream to the car behind. That is Matteo in the number 10 car. That's what happens if you're the car following behind. You get a great slipstream, a great tow from the aerodynamics of the car in front, and gives you a little bit of overspeed. And what Elvis was trying to do there was trying to break that, as well as, it's nearly front wing to tyre there, and Rankin just about gets into the corner in time. They're leaving nothing on the table here, Jake.
And why shouldn't they? They're the 20 top drivers who qualified themselves there. They earned a meal ticket to sit at the table. You might as well get your fill, as we're just about to start the final lap of the race here at Lime Rock Park. Mikel Garda leading, but the fight for 3rd on as Matteo and now Harley Horton trying to sneak his way up onto the podium here in this opening race of 2 tonight here at Lime Rock Park. Can't get the move done at the prime place. This is going to be a tough half a lap.
I'll tell you what, if Elvis Rankin in this number 5 car can keep it clean, he'll have 2nd place points and a great start to this iRacing Skip Barber series. But out at front is the man from Roskilde in Denmark, Mikkel Gade, who leads by 1.9 seconds. It's been such a strong drive from the Danish drivers. Very tight there going into the first chicane. But Matteo manages to hang on. Will Houghton have a go here?
will he? He's got himself a lockup, but at the front of the field, here is Mikel Garda, who through all of this race had it completely under control. Started on pole position, number 1 in the hot lap qualifying, led every lap so far, and he is going to take the inaugural victory and do so with a very controlled performance. Mikel Garda, your winner. A great battle for third as they came over the line, but it was going to be won in the end by Nicholas Matteo. And side by side here as Almeida and Taylor's drag race to the line, and by about, I believe, half a tenth, 300ths of a second, Suelio Almeida will hold on.
Yeah, great stuff there from Suelio Almeida to come out on top of that real well, it's not even a midfield melee, it's the top 5 melee there as well. So they will start the next race as they finished this one. So a number of drivers who had issues, they've got a long evening ahead in the second race to try and make up as many places as they can. Brilliant stuff.
Absolutely brilliant. Mikel Garda then wins this race in a time of 15 minutes, 29 seconds. He wins by 1.8 over Elvis ranking, with Nicholas Matteo in third and Harley Horton trying to run for it. Didn't quite manage the podium. Deegan Fairclough finishes in 5th ahead of Suelio Almeida, who holds off Salva Taylans there in 7th position. Matt Busa finishes off in 8th with Isaac Clark 9th, and Mohamed Ibrahim rounding out the top 10 in the field. It is a tie for the hard charger between Isaac Clark and a driver on the second page, that being Michael Janney, who both of them gained 6 places overall. Felipe Cabrera Loyola will finish off in 11th, the Chilean, with Pier Francesco Patricolo finishing in 12th. Matthew Zeiss gets 13th with Michael Janney 14th. Then it's Leo Ovcharov in 15th position. Sean Ryan, the last finisher in this race, with Jack Harrison, Will Redford, Michael Romanidis, and Benjamin Barateau, all retirees from this opening foray of racing. So all important then in terms of the challenges here, Peter, but what an incredible opening race that was.
Quite extraordinary as well, and a real tactical battle at the front as well. What was really impressive was how Mikel Garda did not panic when the gap closed down to him. He didn't get rushed. He just thought, okay, he'll let them get close enough, and then just started to build the speed back on again. That's the sign of a true high quality racer. Really impressive.
And what was impressive was the way that he managed that race. And I believe with that opportunity, he was just able just to say, this is how much I've got, and this is how much I can push forward to try and gain that pace.
Yeah, he knew exactly what he had to do. You can tell he's been putting his practice in, that is for certain, because he just knew exactly what he needed to do at every moment. But to the same token, the drivers battling over second place, that was stunning as well. And Elvis Rankin played that one really, really well. Quite impressive.
And Peter, I believe you've just managed to stand by with Mikel Garda.
Mikel, congratulations on being the first winner here of the season in the Skip Barber iRacing Championship. How do you feel?
Man, I feel so good. It's nice to get the first win of the season, so I'm really happy. So I was a bit nervous at first. The first few laps I was a bit nervous, so it was hard to really get into the rhythm, but after the first laps I was doing just fine.
And when the drivers, you got a good breakaway early on, when the pack started to come back to you, how did you react to that? Were you calm at that point, or did you think, okay, I've got to get a move on?
I mean, I was a bit worried at first because I still wasn't really feeling that confident with the car, having some small problems with the brake bias, so my rear kept like breaking loose on braking, but yeah, it's hard to overtake on this track, so it was okay.
Well, Mikel, it was certainly a super drive from where we were sitting. Good luck for race 2. You've started it off in the perfect way, and we can't wait to see how you get on in that race.
Thank you.
Well, some incredible action out there in that opening foray, but we're going to step aside for one moment. We'll be back with more after this.
It doesn't matter where you're from, who you grew up rooting for, what you grew up watching, your home track, your favorite car, the series you've always wanted to race in. When you're ready to know what it's like, we're here, bringing you as close to the action as it gets with the ultimate sim racing experience. With a community of hundreds of thousands just like you. This is iRacing, and here, every day is race day.
One down, one to go, and what an important battle we have on the horizon. The second race, 15 minutes once again, but the big difference maker, where you finished in race 1, you start in race number 2, and we are just about a minute away from taking ourselves to that racing. Mikel Garda is in control. Rankin will be there alongside. Matteo and Horton 3rd and 4th. Fairclough and Almeida 5th and 6th. That is the front 3 rows, and that could be the all-important battles. Watch out for the likes of Isaac Clark. He made up 6 places over the course of the race in race number 1. He certainly has the ability to go out there and make something happen, and maybe as we go down through the final few rows of this grid, that this could be an all-important race for someone near the back of the field to really make that charge forward, especially when races weren't quite in the offing here today. So Peter, my question to you is, it will be another rolling start to get ourselves going again. It was so crucial for the beginning of that race that you could control the pace of the cars as the pace car dived into the lane, and you could get that launch and that jump. How difficult is it to really predict when a driver is going to launch and set himself off down the road?
Well, that's the bit where these drivers at the front of the pack do now have a little bit of a reference of what Mikel Garda is likely to do. However, does the Danish driver have another trick up his sleeve? I mean, he really had every answer to every question in race 1, but Elvis Rankin starting on the outside of the front row in that number 5 car with the blue helmet, blue halo and blue rear wing end plates. You got to think he's got to try and get on the case of Mikel Garda early, try and put him under pressure, because as we saw, when he gets out front, he's so comfortable in that position.
And why wouldn't you be around a track like this? It is such a difficult track to overtake. I think there's only one place really on this circuit, Peter, where you look at the corners, you look at the profile of it and say, that is a definitive, you can only go one wide through here, and that is a pass. Everywhere else, effectively, you have to make sure that you've covered every single angle off to go and make the passes.
Yeah, the only thing is you've got to worry about drivers trying to force moves when there isn't one on, and if you're the driver in front, you've got to be just as aware about that, looking in your mirrors, just thinking what the other driver's going to do, because as we saw, I mean, look at poor Will Redford. He's starting from the back of the grid here, and through not a great deal of fault of his own. I mean, he got turfed off the track at a huge accident, and you've got to be careful for that as well. You've got to keep racking up those points if you want to win this championship.
You absolutely do, and the time is now to set your best foot forward. If you start off well in a championship, it makes life easier later on when maybe you don't have a good week. They'll also have in the back of their minds 1 week from today, VIR, but the focus is now Lime Rock Park, race 2. Mikel Garda has control of the field, and he goes in a very similar position. We got a green flag, and we are underway immediately, 3 wide in the middle as they all jostle to get into the right position at the toe. They'll move in towards turn 1 and 2, the big bend out on track. Rankin already under immense amounts of pressure at this point in time, and he knows that he has got to be there 3 wide as they go through turn number 3, and somehow they've all managed to get through it unscathed. What an incredible move.
Oh, Deegan Fairclough got a little bit of a bump there with the yellow helmet there, and he's been dropped right back into the pack, but it's Mikel Garda who gets away. Big wreck at this first chicane. Oh dear.
Oh, and somehow at the tail ends, they managed to keep themselves pointed in the right direction. Front 4 again have broken away in this field. So same story, different race. It's incredible at this point in time how much of a gap they've got. And again, it's a case of about 4 seconds that they've managed to get themselves clear of. Garda leads, Rankin 2nd, Horton 3rd, Matteo then in 4th, Matt Busa up to 5th, a gain of 3.
Great start from Matt Busa. You can tell he's a driver who knows what it's like to run in a close pack. Of course, so many years of experience in the Coca-Cola iRacing NASCAR series, so using that to great effect, that expert racecraft as well. But these 4 top drivers, Gade, Rankin, Hochten and Matteo, they will not be able to believe their luck that they're away in a breakaway group again.
It's uncanny how that's managed to happen. But let's take a look at what happened then on the opening lap. So this is something we didn't manage to see. The smallest little turn and then grabbing the grass on the outside. So easy to do, Peter, but it's the one thing you have to do first and foremost. Keep the car on the island.
And poor old the driver that got tangled up there on the outside was the number 2 of Will Redford. Just not his night here at Lime Rock Park, and he'll be working very hard for the rest of the season. As a little bit of a low percentage move there, you have to say. I didn't quite catch the car number there.
I believe that was the number 4, so that would have been Salva Talens, who's already a lap down and effectively out of this race here, Peter.
Oh dear. Well, that's a big one, because we did expect Salva to score some big points here, but he, again, another driver who will go to VIR next week with a big job to do. But back at the front, it's Mikael Gade who leads by about 0.6 of a second from Elvis Rankin, who's held his second position. Hochten up 1, and Matteo, after getting such a good jump, he really got kind of toughed up a little bit in the turn 1 and turn 2 on lap 1, and that's put him to the back of this group, but he's still in touch.
It's not the end of the world, though, for him. He can still recover and make progress through this field, but at the moment you can see them just trying to snake and break that draft. 15 minutes, of course. We're already through nearly 3 of them, so 12 minutes to go to make this race, and they know that they have to be absolutely on it like a car bonnet if they want to make this happen. And Peter, you know how important this race is.
Oh, I mean, this means so much to these drivers. There's a lot of drivers who have real-world karting experience in this championship, some that have some real-world road racing experience, but to get a seat in the Skip Barber Racing School, I mean, as we talked about, some of the names that have come through Skip Barber Racing School since it launched over 40 years ago, incredible. You know, Joseph Newgarden, Juan Pablo Montoya, Marco Andretti, Ryan Hunter-Ray, Andy Lally, AJ Allmendinger, and so many more. So to get that paid ride in a single-seater championship, that is unheard of, and that is what sim racing is about. It's creating these opportunities, and oh no, that's Almeida involved in that, I think. Yep. Yeah,
absolutely. And then we got a battle for second here as Horton down the inside of Elvis Rankin, trying to pick this position away. He'll have to go around the outside of the left-hander. Rankin trying to take some track away, but look at this. Respect given between these two drivers, leaving each other just enough room, and that is the move. And all of a sudden, here will come the chance then for Matteo down the inside to move up to third, and he manages it. So patience provided, but they collide into each other up the hill. That big difference over those anti-cut curves, and they will now be checking away and see Horton outside of the draft range. What an important moment in this race, and what an important moment it has absolutely been here in terms of these Skip Barber Series races. And you can see the damage is there already. And well, I believe here, Peter, we're just going to see a look at what happened a little bit further back in the field.
Yeah, this was the wreck that Almeida was involved in, trying to pick the car number. There's car number 3 involved there, and oh, bang, just real big wreck there as well. That was Mohammed Ibrahim clashing in there as well, and coming across the circuit. That's a big no-no, and that's created a huge wreck, taking out a number of drivers. In fact, we've got 1, 2, 3, we've got 5 drivers all off the lead lap now as well due to that wreck.
Ryan Romanidis, Ibrahim Almeida, all out of the race on that incident. So a very, very huge moment out there on track, and what an important moment for them in terms of their quest. And it's not just any old quest, it's a quest that absolutely everybody can get their hands on. Anybody can qualify to be in this championship. For more information on what the schedule's going to be to become a member in the series, you can log on to skipbarber.com/iRacing series. The next track is VIR. Even after this broadcast, you know, you could get yourself in, and you can put yourself with an opportunity to qualify inside the top 20, and that could be absolutely majestic for all of you to get yourself into play today. So, chances galore then. The front, calm at the moment. 1 second the gap, which is extended out to 1.3 over the course of this lap, Peter. And again, Mikael Gade is doing exactly what he's needed to do. Control the race from the front, break away. A little bit of side-by-side here, as that is Felipe Cabrera Loyola out there trying to race hard. He's got behind him Michael Janney, who, remember, made great progress early on and, crucially, up 6 places again.
Yeah, Michael Janney making his case for being the hard charger in this opening round of the Skip Barber iRacing series. as they head down into Big Bend as well. And Gianni's going to go all the way around the long way, right around Big Bend. And now he'll have the inside for the left-hander. Can he get it closed up again? Yes, he can. What a move. Michael Gianni, well, hard charging indeed there from the driver of the number 13 car.
And it just goes to prove how crucial it would have been here today, Peter, if he'd made a lap in qualifying, because he didn't. Had to start P20 in race 1, P14 in race 2, and he's already up now into 7th position as Isaac Clark, another great gainer in that opening race, will try and get himself through now on Felipe Cabrera Loyola.
And I think here at Lime Rock Park, this is, if I think of any round, this is where the one-lap qualifying really matters, because of that lack of overtaking opportunity, because of the lack of slipstream opportunity, really, apart from maybe this little drag down the Zamposi Straight, but it's still not long enough. When we get to VIR at Virginia International Raceway, it's going to be a completely different kettle of fish for it as well. And can't wait till we get there. Virginia International Raceway, Paul Newman once said, it's like if there's a heaven on earth, it's VIR. And actually, Paul Newman actually learned to do his race driving here at Lime Rock Park as well.
Absolutely. I would say this is a gladiator's pit of a circuit right now, Lime Rock Park. It really is a place to prove your mettle. There is Isaac Clark really fighting with his steering wheel as he'll move to the outside, coming to the West Bend, trying to figure out the move. It's a very tough chicane to make it happen. You've got the double apex right, and that very tight left is so deceiving with the way that you go over that curve, and then you have to try and set that run through the diving turn and give yourself an opportunity again in these iRacing Formula IR04s. Is there going to be a chance then to move to the inside? Yes, there is. A little look, trying to get through. He takes advantage of the space being left for him, jumps on through the gap and gains a place for it.
Brilliant move there as well. Good respectful racing as well. You have to say Cabrera Loyola gave really fair room there to Isaac Clark, who made the very most of it, using the slipstream perfectly. You're right up into 6th gear on these IR04 machines coming into turn 1 and 2, Big Bend. But back closer, this is a battle for 9th place as well. And Cabrera Loyola has not given it up as well. And look at Isaac Clark with the green helmet there, having to go very defensive just to cover the line off as best he can. Now, back at the front, Harley Houghton has not let Mikel Gade get away. The gap is about 1.2 seconds now, less than 6 minutes to go, but about a tenth of a second quicker last time round. It's not done yet, Jake.
Not done, but you feel at the moment it's not enough for Harley Houghton to make a really strong challenge. So that will be one thing to keep in mind. Battle continues then, as on the back of this now is Pier Francesco Patricolo. We've hardly seen much of him over the course of racing today, and he is definitely someone here, this Italian, who really wants to go out there and make a name for himself. He's got 2 places he can really focus on right now. If he can get to 8th, I'd say that was a job well done over the course of his racing in race 2.
I would say so, yeah, to get there and score some points when others haven't been so lucky. And Michael Gianni, the hard charger at the moment, 7 places gained so far. Quite extraordinary for Michael, now in 7th position as well. So he's going to be in for some good points here as we ride on board with Deegan Fairclough, looking very relaxed.
Absolutely, and Deegan Fairclough from Hawley in the United Kingdom, which is the town right outside Gatwick Airport, so I'm sure that he'll be trying to fly through this field in 5th position and give what he can. He's got a very experienced driver behind him in Matt Buser, and when we say experienced, we talk about experienced in iRacing, Peter. He's got a 10-plus year career.
Yeah, at the top level as well in the NASCAR Coke Series, where there really are some of the best drivers in the world taking part in that. Nice to see Deegan Fairclough as well, wearing his Sicily Motorsports shirt as well. He's a junior driver for that British Touring Car Championship team, a development driver, so ambitions to get into the top level of tin top racing in the United Kingdom.
Absolutely, and that could be a huge opportunity for him moving forward as well. But inside 4 minutes, we now find ourselves with the chance. There is Michael Gianni up 7 spots at this moment in time. Just in front of him, Matt Buser there in 6th position. So work still to be done. That gap around a second at this point in time as he's desperately trying to give chase. But the one constant in a race like this, 15 minutes, it isn't long. You're always looking at the clock, Peter, because old Father Time always catches up in these races.
It does, and if you don't get off to a good start, it's kind of game over at that point. Those opening laps are absolutely critical. I mean, just that, I mean, poor old Elvis Rankin, yes, he did get away with the leading group and in second position, but just got roughed up on one lap, and he's now kind of dropped off the kind of scent of the leaders, and he's now in fourth, so going to be off the podium, and big spin there.
That is Pier Francesco Patricolo off the road then, with a little bit of contact between the two. Not ideal in the scenario, but it's opened the door up then, as there's a bit of side-by-side here with Felipe Cabrera Loyola in trouble here, because this is Jack Harrison trying to make the move around the outside. This would put him up 8 places and give him the hard charger. So a really good opportunity to make this one happen, and he gets it done into the left-hander. What a move by Jack.
Super stuff there. Jack Harrison goes and snatches the hard charger award away with just 2.5 minutes to go. So we've got to keep forging forward there and keep Cabrera Loyola behind him there in that black-nosed machine there, the number 20. Super stuff in the midfield here as well, giving us a flavour of what to expect over the next 6 weeks here in the Skip Barber Formula iRacing series.
Well, it's not over yet, because Harrison's got to really protect his run. He has still got Felipe Cabrera Loyola to worry about. He's got Will Redford there as well, who would also love to be in the hard charge challenge at this point in time. And it is worth noting as well, as they run in towards turn numbers 1 and 2, fighting side by side every stage of the way. Harrison on the outside holding the line and just about keeping himself in position. It's worth noting that it is starting to close up for the top 3. Matteo has been clawing back in against Harley Horton, and the gap 9/10 of a second to the lead, but this great battle continues for 9th position in this race as we look over towards the leaders with 2 laps to go.
Well, Mikael Gade does have the lead for now, but you got to think that Harley Horton is actually getting close enough now to pick up just a little slither of slipstream from the leading car with the number 1 on there at the moment as well. But do you look forward? Do you look back? Like you say, Jake, Nicholas Matteo, he wants a little bite of that second position points as well.
He absolutely does, and he has been driving so well as the number 6. Harley Horton is giving everything he can to close this gap down. Matteo in third just behind, I think, is an onlooker at this point in time. They run themselves through the uphill, and they know they have to be inch perfect between now and the end of this race. On such a small track, it is so easy to really struggle when you try and go out with that so important run through every apex.
So white flag being raised at the flag stand. The last lap here at Lime Rock Park in the Skip Barber Formula iRacing Series. Has Mikael Gade done enough? He's got just under 6/10 of an advantage from Harley Horton with Nicholas Matteo right there with the green helmet. Is he close enough? Possibly not, but it's going to come right down to the wire here. We saw Gade control it very well in race 1. Can he do it again here in race 2 and do the double?
One mistake changes everything. On board with Harley Horton as he looks to try and give the chase that he needs to put himself in prime control. Up the hill they go, and now charging towards that west bend. The gap closing all the while, but I think he's running out of laps and running out of track. Car number 1 has held himself fantastically in regard. It's a little bit of a mistake, though, coming over that second corner. And now, all of a sudden, Horton might have a chance. The guard of Garda has been absolutely fantastic. But has he got enough of a drive to the line? He'll just about hold on for what is perfection today at Lime Rock Park.
One more lap and Harley Horton might have been past him there as well, but Mikael Gade ever so calm there as well. Typical Scandinavian serenity there, keeping Horton at bay, with Matteo getting the last spot on the podium. And Jake, Elvis Rankin, after running in second early on, he's going to be, you got to think he's going to be slightly upset with 4th position.
Yeah, you'd feel like there was a little bit more able to give there in terms of that race, but that's racing. Sometimes you don't get the result you want from it. It's how you respond and bounce back from that point onwards. But the perfect start for the Dane there. Mikael Gade has got himself everything he's wanted, and that is 70 points in the back pocket to play with, going to VIR 1 week from today. So crucial, so important, And here is the classification then of results, as it is going to be a big win for Mikael Garda. He holds it by 0.2 of a second over Harley Horton, who was trying everything to bring himself back into play. Nicholas Mateo rounds out the podium, does the Spaniard. Elvis Rankin will be 4th position overall, with Deegan Fairclough given some credit, back-to-back 5th places, with Matt Booser 6th, and also Michael Janney in 7th position, a gain of 7. He won't get the hard charger. That'll be Jack Harrison in 9th, Isaac Clark splitting them in 8th place, with Felipe Cabrera Loyola rounding out the top 10, does the Chilean. Only 14 drivers finished this race, with Will Redford, Pierre Francesco Patricolo, Matthew Zeiss, and Benjamin Baratow. Then those 11 through 14, and the drivers in trouble: Michael Romanidis, Leo Ovcharov, Sean Ryan, Mohamed Ibrahim, Suelio Almeida, and early on in the opening laps of this race, Salva Talens getting himself on the wrong side of racing. But Peter, an important race here today, exactly what these drivers needed to see. But for a driver in the number 1, who proved he was absolutely fantastic over the course of today, he's managed it with perfection.
He really has. I think he's proven his credentials here in the iRacing platform. He's the highest rated driver in terms of the iRating based on results in official competition, and quite incredible. And why don't we have a chat to him and see how he's feeling?
Absolutely. Mikael, not only to go through one race and to secure it in the way that you did, but to go through 2 perfect races, to control the race in the manner that you did, you couldn't wish for a better start.
No, this was all I hoped for. It couldn't go a better way, really. It was much easier to me the second race, because I didn't have as much nerves on, so much more calm this race. I was a bit too safe the last laps. Harley was really close catching me in the last laps because I was so safe. Didn't want to get a slowdown, so but it was good in the end.
With safety being a top priority for you then in terms of securing this race, how important is it to get 70 points on the board to say, that's what I've got as 2 of my results, 2 victories, knowing that when you get towards next week in VIR, how crucial it is when it comes to just a completely different style of racing where overtaking is going to be a lot more active?
I mean, it's really, really good to have these results in the bank, so I can take it much more steady next week and just relax a bit, because I know there's going to be maybe more crashes. And also, when we have 4 races we can remove in the end, it's really, really important to have some wins in the bank.
Well, wins in the bank you certainly have. Mikael Garda, number 1 all throughout the boards over the course of this week. And well, Peter, you know, you put yourself in a position like this, and now we turn our attention towards VIR. Just how crucial is that going to be in terms of a challenge for everyone to push themselves forward to the absolute limit?
Well, it's a track that a lot of drivers might need to just brush up on a little bit. It's a track that maybe some of the top level drivers are just maybe a little bit rusty on. So getting lots of laps in, lots of practice, and those that are part of big sim racing teams, they can get practice of running in a pack with top level drivers. That's where being a member of a top outfit is very, very important. I can't wait to see how the drivers are going to get on. It's going to be a thriller.
It certainly is. It's one of the first circuits to ever grace iRacing as a whole, the Virginia International Raceway. 1 week from today, 3 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you check yourself on that one. Get that booked in the calendar and get yourself in for amazing racing action. But there is a great chance for you here today. If you're brand new, you're here for the first time watching some iRacing and some amazing sim racing action, you can log into iRacing today. Get yourself a brand new membership. 40% off of your very first subscription. You can find out more information and start your iRacing career today at iRacing.com. So, Peter, you move to VIR. It's fast, it's flowing, it's incredibly quick. What is going to be the key differences between what we saw this week and what we're going to see next week?
Well, more overtaking. I think that's for certain. I mean, the long back straight down towards the carousel at Virginia International Raceway especially in these cars, provides a chance for the drivers to get a big run. So I'd be very surprised if we see that such a long breakaway of the top 3 or 4 drivers. I think we'll see more of a mix at the front, and as Mikael mentioned, maybe a couple more incidents as well. Let's see.
Absolutely. So some great chances on the horizon, but what we can say, it was perfection to start off racing for Mikael Garda. 70 points in the back pocket. VIR awaits, and that could be all the big difference maker. We will see you 1 week from today.